Steven, do you know what upsets me?
Everything.
Yeah, I was waiting for everything. It's always something.
Always something.
It's always something. So I'm having my garage door fixed today. You just brought this up right before we started, and I figured, why don't I just tell you about it? It broke on December 24th. And it's taken this long to get a new door in and get them to install it. Now, they tell me yesterday, they're like, are you ready? We'll be there at 8 a.m. So what does Jared do? Jared gets up.
At 7:58, he's there.
Jared does his hair. He does, I put it into curlers. I didn't put it into curlers. I just needed to wash it because it's been up for a minute. 9:15 they show up. If you tell me 8 a.m., I'm going to be ready because I don't want to be the reason why you're late.
Well, the best is like when Comcast or Verizon like, yeah, we'll be there between 8 and 2 o'clock. So just be home in that general time frame.
I refuse to do that anyway. I'm like, you guys give me a 30-minute or a 15-minute heads up and I will meet you where I need to meet you.
Yep.
But don't make me wait 4 hours for you people.
And then they're still late usually.
Yeah, by you people, I mean you people. Anyway, they showed up at 9:15. I didn't say anything to the workers because I'm assuming the workers weren't told 8 a.m. I was told they probably showed up at work at 8 a.m. and then got in their truck and then drove down.
Yep.
So whatever, they're there. Hopefully they get everything done because I haven't been able to park the Tesla and charge it
and
in
the
my
Lambo
own
and
garage
the Porsche.
yet. Oh, and also the work on that studio can't get done until that door works.
Man, first world problems. That sucks.
Yeah, well, I'm not complaining, Steven.
Yes, you are.
That's not complaint. That's not complaint. You're complaining.
And
anyway, guys,
the thing too with your door, it's an industrial sized door. It's not a regular garage door. So I think that's why it took nearly 2 months to replace.
Well, it took them a while to come out first and foremost to measure and to do all this stuff. Then I had to do some other stuff on the back end. And by the time that they ordered it, they're like, we expedited it unless you want it in 12 to 14 weeks. I'm like,
in 10 years.
No, I'd like to expedite it, please.
Yeah.
So it's expedited and hopefully it's finished today so I can finally get that stuff parked.
Cool.
This is episode number 38 of RAWtalk, where we sit down and talk about things that we want to talk about. Generally, my life.
Like garage doors.
Like garage doors.
We've
got some photo stuff to talk about this week. What was the second part?
I said in jeans.
Jeans. Well, I don't think these jeans hug my ass enough, Steven. I looked at my ass in the mirror.
It's a little flat looking.
You take it back. Yesterday was leg day.
I would always say it's a bookshelf. A little bookshelf in the back.
I'm fine. I'm going to go get even tighter jeans. I got to go find tighter jeans than these Levi's. They're not hugging my ass enough. There's not enough men coming up to me asking me out. I mean, women.
I just went to Old Navy last weekend and spent like $300 and bought like 10 pairs of jeans.
Yeah, $300 at Old Navy's like 500 pairs of jeans.
Oh, it's incredible, man. Jeans are like $20. Buy one, get one half the time. And, I don't wear them every day like some people, so they last a while. And they hug my butt really nice.
Oh, do they?
They do.
Stand up. Let's see.
I'm not wearing jeans right now. Usually I'm half naked on these on the podcast just because you can't see anything below here.
So anyway, this is episode number 38. We keep going and going. We like doing these and we appreciate you guys listening.
Yes.
And you guys text us at whatever the number is.
That we still don't remember.
I'm looking for the paper.
313.
There it is, 313-710-9729. 313-710-9729. Steven answers. I answer on occasion. I also send out the birthday wishes every day.
And it depends. I mean, some people write like a novel, and I just don't have time.
Don't write a novel.
I don't have time to respond to 7 different questions about a specific product or something like that,
My favorite's when people send messages like, is it all right if I send you a message? I'm like,
after they already sent the message?
I just read this one, so probably won't be reading your other one because it just randomly happens. Sometimes I click into the box and I'm like, okay, let me read a few. And then someone writes like 8 paragraphs and I'm like, please, can you distill this down into 2 sentences? And then they write 4 paragraphs instead of 8. And it's like, I just can't answer your question now, please. Like,
your responses are always like, yes, no, like very straightforward, not much thought put into it.
No, there's a lot of thought going into it. Yes is answering the question.
No. Yes. What's your opinion on this? Yes.
Yes. Okay, fine. Let's get started. Eagles lost. Okay, that was very disappointing.
Yep.
It was a very disappointing. It was a very good game. Unfortunately,
very entertaining game. If you weren't an Eagles or a Chiefs fan, for sure.
Yeah, it was an entertaining game. It's very disappointing that Eagles didn't make a stop at all in the second half. So, you could talk about, I wasn't happy with the ending. No one was happy with the a penalty being called at that point.
Yeah.
Whether he grabbed his shirt, which he says that he did, uncatchable ball in that situation, probably don't call it.
Well, it looked like the broadcast angle didn't really show the penalty in question, which was holding. They paused it when he had his left hand on his jersey, which made it seem like that was the penalty, but really it happened at the beginning of the play, and they didn't really show that angle right where he was actually holding his jersey. So it was the correct penalty. They just played back the wrong clip, which didn't really look like it was a penalty.
Oh, okay. I need to look at it. But regardless, it would have been nice to see the game decided in the last minute and 30 with the Eagles having one timeout going down the field for an attempted field goal to tie, to go into overtime, or a potential break a major play and go in for the win. Anyway, it was disappointing. I don't think anybody rioted in the city. I actually think people were pretty calm this year.
Yeah.
Except for, I don't understand what those Temple students were doing in the afternoon by flipping a car on campus. Bunch of idiots.
I just saw that the cops put out security camera footage and screenshots from the footage for the kids that did that.
Oh, good. You're fucking stupid, you dumb asses. You're now going to be kicked out of school. You are a bunch of idiots for flipping cars first and foremost, and then getting on top of the car and dancing like you're a fuck. What do you think this is? 1983? Everybody's filming, you morons. Always think that someone is filming.
I mean, this day and age, I was talking to somebody about like just crime in general, and it's impossible to try and get away with anything. There's cameras everywhere you go. Why would you even attempt to do something stupid like that?
Is it, Steven?
Is it stupid? Yeah.
Is it? Are you sure? Because I may have committed crimes that you don't know about.
Especially at the factory. It's impossible to do anything without Jared watching.
I don't have cameras everywhere.
Remember back in the day when we first got the factory, you would have the camera inside, and then you also had Alexa that you could like listen on and talk to us through?
Well, no, the Alexa I never listened in on.
No.
That was later. That was when Alexa came out. I'm like, you guys could talk to me if I'm at home. And no, I never dropped in or listened to any of that. But I did move the camera for fun when you guys were around, so you could hear the zhushing.
Yeah, you would hear like choo, choo, choo.
The turning of the camera. But
Not distracting at all.
I do make sure that when people do come here, that if they need to change, I make them aware that there's a camera there and there's a camera there. So make sure you're not in those areas if you're changing, so that Steven can't watch you.
Me. I don't even have access to the cameras. You do.
I don't have access to the damn cameras except for on the computer, because we were about to replace those, except if I do finish up the purchase of the other place, then we'll put in new cameras in that place.
Back to the game, though. At the end, I blame the grass. I blame the grass, man.
It's just disappointing that, both teams are on the grass.
That's the thing.
It's like, equal.
Some people are blaming it. It's like, come on, both teams played on it. So regardless, if it was in bad shape, they both had to deal with it.
Right. That was an equal disadvantage for both teams.
Yeah.
But it's more of a disappointment that in the biggest game of the year, the Super Bowl, that the NFL uses the worst possible turf in the history of turf. Oh, we've never used this turf before, and the players complained about it.
The turf before that, I don't know where that came from.
Well, I read that it's a new strain of
Tahoma
grass.
31 Bermuda.
Well, that's not what I heard. That's not what they said on the TV. You could have done a better job.
Well, the guy in charge of overseeing the field operations, who I think they call him the Sod Father, he's a 94-year-old man that's been in charge of running the grounds crew at every single Super Bowl game ever. And what's cool about that stadium is that the field has this tray system where they put the sod on, and it's 40 inches deep for root development, and it slides in and out of the stadium so it can get natural sunlight during the day and then stay warm at night with the insulation of the stadium. But you're dealing with desert conditions, which one day it could be 70 degrees and the next could be 40, and then lows at night could be 20 or 30. And I heard they sodded the field just 2 weeks before the game, so for Bermuda grass to stick after being transplanted with those kind of weather conditions, it's tough. I did see people saying, it was the paint and that's what caused the slipping and the sliding and blah, blah, blah. But nearly every stadium's field is painted with logos, or the actual grass is painted. Like Philly, for example, the Link uses the same exact sod, Tahoma 31 Bermuda, but it's painted green nearly all year because Bermuda is paper sack brown, especially during the football season. Same with golf courses. If you're at a high-end golf club, you're probably walking on painted turf, whether it's bent grass or Bermuda or something like that. But paint is the norm when it comes to high-end turf management.
What is this, grass talk? I don't want to talk about grass.
You talk about shit I don't want to talk about, like jeans.
I don't talk about jeans. Anyway, people complaining about that can shut up.
Yeah.
It's equal opportunity, but it's just disappointing that the NFL has this game and the turf becomes a talking point. When the turf becomes a talking point and the game isn't a talking point, that's bad.
But did the talking point become a thing for Eagles fans? Just to try and say, we had a disadvantage, blah, blah, blah.
Anybody that I talk to, they're like, the call cost us a game. I'm like, first off, did the Eagles make a stop at all? Did they have a sack? Did they do anything defensively?
Defense
and the answer
was weak.
No.
Yeah.
And so they didn't, and that's what cost him the game. And Hurts, he fumbles the ball. They had a touchdown, but he comes back. We're still up by 10 at half. So, I mean, it's like you're still up by 10, and you still didn't make a stop. Okay, moving on. Let's apologize, Stephen.
Apologize.
The Canon has apologized officially that the R8 may not be able to follow enough supply and demand due to blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Sounds familiar.
And blah, blah, blah. So I did this on Photo News Fix this week where I read the apology and I just kept adding blah, blah, blah. Because they're like, due to constraints on this and it's like, guys, we don't care. And I don't care that Japan shouldn't have to do this. They shouldn't have to apologize that they can't meet demand. And I'm like, wait a second. Because they didn't say the R50, does that mean the demand for the R50 is not high? And they see that's the
but
thing.
I'm sure they expected to sell more R50s, I would assume, because it's a $670, little camera.
You don't know this, Steven. Do you work for Canon?
They called it the M50 Mark II successor for the most part, and the M50
Do you
Mark II.
work for Mr. Mitterai?
It sold like bonkers, so I assume they probably upped that production, but who knows?
Yeah.
I just feel like
shortages?
It's Nikon PR writing this press release. It's always Nikon saying this kind of stuff. I'm kind of surprised that Canon's saying
said it. Yeah, but Canon has a list of equipment that's still on it. The the R6 Mark II is on the list. The 135 1.8's on the list. The 400 2.8's on the list. The 800 5.6 is on the list. So they have all of these apologies on their website for all of these different things that they can't meet demand for. Like, we get it. Stop apologizing. There's nothing worse than people just apologizing for everything. I had a guy, banker,
but it's something with
banker.
the Japanese culture that they have to apologize. It's something
Someone
ingrained in their,
Well, someone told us that it's legally they have to apologize if they're not able to meet the expected demand.
Why? It's just weird.
It's Japan. I don't know. They have vending machines that vend beer and make pizza, and then you can buy jeans, Steven.
And anything through a vending machine.
You probably buy jeans through you probably go into a vending machine and it like measures you, and then it will cut up with a little. No, they probably don't do that in Japan, but if it was China, there would probably be a little kid in there sewing and cutting your pants and making them for you on demand. Oh, geez, did he just go there? I mean, it's kind of true, though. Well, it's not. I actually heard a story that if you go to Vietnam in a certain district,
in Vietnam,
you can go and get custom-made clothing that's top-notch, incredible for not a ton of money. They will make you a whole wardrobe. You just go there, get measured, and then a couple days later come back and you've got an entire wardrobe.
Well, there you go. Get your jeans there, man.
I should go to Vietnam and get it.
Yeah, you got a ton of miles, right? We talked about this last week.
We did. Do you know what I would say when I wake up in the morning in Vietnam?
Let me guess.
Good morning, Vietnam. That movie is fantastic.
It's so good, yeah.
That is such a fantastic movie. I haven't watched it in a long time, but
I actually just watched it last year out of nowhere. I saw it on Prime, and I'm like, oh, let me check it out. It's been a minute.
Crazy thing, my parents took us to see that in the movie theater, and I remember that someone pulled the plug on the projector by accident. We've
talked about this before on the podcast, actually.
No, that was a different movie.
It happened twice on you, where the projector
I talked about this before.
I'm pretty sure you did.
You sure this is deja vu all over again?
For some reason, I know this story, so either you told me in person or I'm pretty sure we talked about it on the podcast.
Damn it, Steven, stop bringing this up. So they apologized, and enough apologizing. We're tired of your apologies for apologizing for not being able to meet demand. We get it.
I just question, though, what's meeting demand? Like, did they just simply make a couple hundred units, or are they talking thousands? Are we talking millions? Like, how many? What's the demand? That's what I want to know.
Here's the thing, actually, Stephen. When you think about it, being that the camera is a 6D R6 Mark II sensor, R6 Mark II processor, they have to figure out how many of these R8s they're going to make versus R6 Mark IIs because it uses basically the same innards.
Yeah. It's an R6 Mark II and an RP body for the most part.
Yeah, so they have to prepare for that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but do you know what else upsets me, Steven?
Everything.
Not everything, but almost everything. How about this? The other day, and this is a business thing. It may not be photography, but it relates to business, and it's an important thing to talk about.
Wait, is this a photography podcast?
Yeah, but this can translate. You got to think about the story, Steven. You got to turn it into how this could affect your photography. So basically, I wanted to go to
stories ever turn into a photography related topic.
But
ever.
You gotta just associate being like, if you're a business owner and you don't do what this business is doing, translate that into your photography. So I'll paint the picture. There's this place I wanted to go eat with my friend, okay? We were going to meet there at 7:15 or 7 o'clock. I don't remember the exact time. Now, it's a bar that does burgers, smash burgers, that are really good.
Nice.
And so I check with the bar earlier in the day via Instagram, will you guys be doing dinner tonight? And they said, yes. So she gets there right before me and calls me, and as I'm walking, and she goes, there's a note on the door that says, they have a private event till 8:30 tonight. And this is at 7 o'clock. I'm like, what the fuck? Said
technically they weren't wrong. They're doing dinner tonight. They just didn't say when.
But I go onto their social media and I go and I look, and it doesn't say anything about having a private event tonight. Because normally what you would do is say, hey guys, we have a private event till 8:30. We look forward to seeing you after 8:30 for drinks. We will be open for dinner and whatever, food till 9 and drinks. But just think about someone coming from across town to meet up with people who check the Instagram to see if there's anything, a private event, or if there's anything that it says like, no, we're not doing food tonight, or we're not open. And you show up at 7 o'clock to meet people, and you came in. It's just frustrating.
No, yeah,
that
it's
a
definitely
business
frustrating.
doesn't keep up with their social media, and it's not just the first time it happened, because it happened a couple weeks prior, where I show up to have dinner, and they're like, "Oh, we're not actually serving dinner tonight." Check their social media. Nothing about them not doing dinner. It's just the common decency and respect for your customer to put out a message. It's so easy to put out an Insta story. Hey guys, we'll be opening tonight at 8:30. We have a private event, but we look forward to seeing you after. Right? That just lets people know. And so it's just frustrating.
I really think social media is an afterthought for most of these restaurants, though. They really don't utilize it like they should. Like basic messages and announcements, they should be putting in a story or pinning it on their whatever board,
Yeah. Well, the thing that also, on Instagram, you could put those notes up there too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And you can pin it to the top now. And it's incredibly frustrating for someone like you, where you literally reached out to them asking very specifically if they had dinner tonight, and they still happen to say yes.
But they never ask really if they have a private event.
That there's a private event till 8:30. So, I mean, most people I would say eat between 6 and 8.
Yeah, but the thing is, they stopped doing the kitchen at 9. So if they have a private event till 8:30, why would they even open the kitchen at that point?
Nine's pretty early. I'm surprised it's not like 10.
Well, they're not really the food type place. They just do a couple of different things,
but
I still
like
happen
a bar,
to like it.
Burger place, usually it's pretty late,
They may do 10 on the weekend, I think.
Okay.
But, so the moral of the story here is, if you work somewhere, if you guys have a job somewhere, or with your photography, if you had a studio and you're like, walk-ins available, and then you're not there because you didn't leave a message, that's the thing. Common decency. And it's actually good business, because if you're using social, and I said this about, we used to go to North Third we used to go to Johnny Brenda's all the time for lunch or dinner, and they would never post they wouldn't give you menus at the time. So you always had to read it off the board. Well, I was blind and I couldn't see the fucking board. So I had to walk up, take a picture, bring it back to the table. I'm like, why don't you guys just post this on Instagram or Twitter back in the day, what your menu is every day, since it changes? Not only will it be good for your customers to go and see this when they're sitting here,
yep,
but for people that are looking for a place to go eat who didn't think about coming here, might actually come here to eat because something sparked their interest. That's the point of social media. You put stuff out there, people know you exist, and then they're like, oh, I didn't think about getting ice cream tonight, and I like that flavor that place is doing, so why don't I go out of my way and get that ice cream?
Yeah.
Ice cream. And that's the story I wanted to share.
Cool story, bro. Really related to photography there.
So I did a photo shoot the other day, and generally, as you guys know...
is this how it ties into photography?
No, Steven, this is another story. But yeah, social media plays a major part in this one because the person that hired me for this saw my photo stories.
There you go. There's the transition right there.
Saw my photos that I did of a friend for one of my 6 Degrees project, and then asked if I could do some stuff. Now, as you know, I generally do not take jobs. I have that statement that I constantly say is that I will not be beholden to someone else's expectations. And this kind of proves why, again, slightly why I don't want to do that. But I wanted to help someone out, and they're a really good person. They're going to be running for a spot in the city council in Philadelphia.
It's a good connection to have for sure.
It's a good
when
connection
it comes to networking. Yeah,
but they have me come out to do the shoot, and it's like a grip and grin. It's like an announcement. So a bunch of people are there. It's at an art gallery. There's a little bit of food. People are standing around hobnobbing.
Did he say what he wanted specifically? Like pictures of him with guests or just general event coverage?
No.
Okay.
I asked his campaign manager, whoever was there, I was like, if there's someone important that you think I need a photo of with this person, please let me know. And he's like, I'll get back to you. And they still haven't gotten back to me. I just went and took pictures of everybody. Mm-hmm. And I got I did a really good job for the 2 hours that I was there. I will tell you that.
Best job ever.
You saw the photos, Steven. How were they?
Blown away. I was blown away. Amazing.
You went.
Amazing.
You were. Wasn't it?
They were good. Yeah.
They were good.
I mean, shitty, tough lighting, so not much you can do about that. But
so my thing with this shoot was, and I'm sure some of you guys feel this, and you may not think that I do too, but when I'm shooting a job like this, it feels like I'm being judged because I'm quote unquote hired help is what I feel. And all of this could just be in my head, but I feel like people are looking down on me because I'm not attending the event as a person. I'm attending as a photographer doing it. I'm working the event. I might as well have been a waiter or a waitress.
Preface the event. Explain the event, though. I think it'll make a little more sense when you explain what the event was.
Well, the event is someone announcing that they're running for city council.
But it was like an art gallery event, right?
It was at an art
kind
gallery.
Kind of like a bougie atmosphere, yeah.
Wasn't very bougie. It was in a part of town that I think is a terrible part of town.
I meant bougie as in the art on the wall and everything.
Well,
right?
yes, it has some art on the wall that might be expensive. I have no idea. It looked like art that I've done, if not as good as my art, because I'm an artist at this point.
Artiste, Jared.
You know what? Me doing all this painting, which I've gotten tired of already, and drawing, which I've gotten tired of already.
That's weird.
Yeah, I have my last class tonight at the painting. I'm not going to redo painting. Maybe I'll go and do clay class next. But what I've learned is that art is beyond subjective and most of it sucks. And
dude, it's photography. Same thing.
Yeah, but I think people value art at a higher standard. Well, no, I can't say that because starving artists don't really sell their work for very much money.
Yep.
But I do feel that people will put a higher price tag on fine art than they will ever on a fine art photo because a photo isn't a one-off like the art as much. And so
unless you're Peter, what was his name? Peter Lick?
Peter Lick, my boss.
Selling like a $6 million print.
Yeah, but that was an insider deal. That was shady, but good for him running an awesome business, making $500 million a year in photography. You cannot downplay the importance of what he's done. He's been the Kincaid of the photo world, and I mean, I respect the hell out of it because his galleries are absolutely gorgeous. When you go into those galleries that he has, the photos and prints on the wall are awesome. When you go onto his website and dig deep and see some of the shitty photos, those are shitty. But the ones at his gallery, those are fantastic. Anyway, back on the topic here, because Steven got us off topic for a change. I just feel like I'm being judged because one lady put her hand up when I was taking photos. I'm there to get photos of this person running with the people around. That's what I'm there to do. And she gave me a look and put her hand up like, stop. And I was like, I really, you could see my face wasn't very nice. I could see that. And then I snapped out of it real fast and was like, whatever, fuck off. And I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need you to worry. I don't need to, whatever. But see, I'm always trying to do the best job that I can. But I did question whether I was being judged or not. I just did. That's personal. And it doesn't mean that I was. Maybe some people knew what I did. Some people did come up to me and they knew my YouTube videos and thanked me for the help and all of that. So they understand what I do. But this is one of the reasons I don't like working for people is because I don't want to feel like I'm being judged as a worker. Now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect my life. I don't care. Like, it's not going to stop me from doing something, but it's just what goes on in my head.
I mean, hey, I went through the same stuff when I would photograph events for the radio station, which was all the time. The difference there was I dealt with a lot of bands and creative people, and I think they respected the art of photography. We tended to have a lot of, conversations about music and photography and art in general, and it wasn't as bougie as an event that you just shot, though. It was always in, backstage or behind the scenes at some dimly lit concert venue or something like that.
I guess I just have this high standard of myself.
It's called narcissism. Do you know who I am?
And when I'm in a situation,
you knew who I am.
I don't like being questioned or asked because I want to be like,
I'm not a peasant with a camera.
Do you know who I am?
That's exactly what you're thinking.
It's in my head, Steven. It's like, just let me do what I do. Just please let me do what I do. Like, don't question me. I do. I really feel like everyone should know what I do, and that when I get there, they should just leave me alone and let me do what I do.
Do you know how many buildings I own?
You think you're funny, Steven? Do you really think you're funny? Guess what? No more 12.5%.
I wasn't getting it anyway.
What are you going to get? It's about down to 10% now.
Oh, jeez.
It's going to go down even further when we move. Yeah. How do you like them apples?
Great. I quit.
So basically, this was a fundraiser for their campaign. The tough thing in these situations is, how do you charge someone, right? What do you charge? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm there for 2 hours, that means I had to drive 20 minutes each way. That's an extra 40 minutes, so call it another hour. So that's 3 hours. I had to come home and edit, so that's another at least hour.
5 minutes for you.
Excuse me. Yeah, just,
I take
Skittles.
I'm terrible at editing, I will say, when it comes to, in terms of time. It takes me a long time to edit. I don't do a simple sync across the board, unless lighting is pretty much the same. But it does take me a couple hours to get a full shoot done, depending on how many photos, of course.
So I have a friend who tested out this AI software that edits in your style. So basically what you do is you upload a bunch of sample images that you've edited. The machine learns it. Then you upload an entire set from a wedding, and it spits them out in 5 minutes with edits and sends them back to you. And they said that it was really good.
And you're sending in RAW files?
No. So what I think that you do, so actually I don't know how that part works. You probably... I don't know.
And are they sending back full res JPEGs?
Well, I don't know maybe they just send back the edit file. The edit would be interesting. Mm-hmm. And then you just input that into your Lightroom. But the way that it worked was they uploaded their images that they edited, samples, so that the machine could learn your style. And when it spit the stuff back out that they needed in a matter of 5 minutes, it saves them so much time. And then they can go back through the images and tweak them themselves. So even if you do upload RAW files, it's not even that big of a deal anymore. That stuff will be uploaded fairly quick at this point, and it's not that hard. And so, you think about it. I know this is going off topic slightly about pricing, but think about how you can utilize the new technologies to your advantage versus complaining about new technologies and not adapting to them. I'm very particular about how I edit my images, and I question whether an AI can do what I do, and the answer is it probably can, and it might be something to look into for a lot of people, and it's not going to take away, yes, it's going to take away jobs from editors, potentially, but you know what? It's the same thing with using Squarespace. Don't play the music, Steven. This isn't a Squarespace ad. It's the same thing as that. It's a turnkey solution.
How do you utilize it as a tool to help you progress with your photography? That's the thing. Instead of AI actually doing all of the work for you, how do you make it, how do you add it to your arsenal? How do you add it to your tool belt? How do you make it so you're still the one making decisions and it's not making all the decisions on its own?
Yeah. In this situation, if you're shooting weddings, say you have a wedding on Saturday and you have a wedding on Sunday, and you come back with thousands of images, you could go through and cull your images and then upload the ones that you want, or you could just upload all of them and have it spit it back out in a matter of minutes. It will do this. Do you know how much time that's going to save you? And then all you need to do is just go through and be like, oh, this is not perfect. I'll just tweak it a little bit. It's giving you a great starting point. It's the same thing we say about the presets. Don't play the music, Steven. This isn't a plug. It's the same thing we say about the presets. They give you a great starting point and help speed up your raw workflow. And there's actually nothing that says you can't use the presets on your 100 images that you're going to upload to the AI, and then the AI spits it out based on your style, right? There's nothing that says that stuff isn't possible. Mm-hmm. And I know Chat GPT and Google and the latest hot catchphrases, and I said this in Photo News Fix, is a couple years ago during the pandemic, everything was Web 3, Web 3.0, cryptocurrency, the metaverse. Oh, I forgot to say the metaverse. Those three things. It was the metaverse, Web 3, which is very similar to the metaverse, and crypto.
Yep.
And all of the money in VCs went to all of that shit. Zuckerberg just lights $10 billion a month or however much on fire trying to do the stupid metaverse that he wants to do, which no one plays in. Mm-hmm. No one's going to wear those fucking goggles because, I love when he's like, I'm kickboxing today with the world famous so-and-so. It's like, good for you, Zuck, because this is something that people do. I'm fencing inside of the metaverse. Good for you, Zuck. So I think that's a fail, but then the latest hot trend is AI. So everybody's investing in everything AI. Google's had AI for years and they just didn't implement it, and they're upset that they didn't implement it before ChatGPT came out. And you have all the schools that are worried that kids are going to cheat. But how can you use AI to, especially the ChatGPT style AI, to teach? You can go through and you can proofread with the students, this is right, this is wrong. So you're starting to train people to think, right? You've got to check your facts. You got to think about this stuff and you got to look into it. So, you just can't be afraid of that.
So back to your conversation about the event. What was the pricing issue? Yeah.
Well, it's not a pricing issue. It's more so you want to make sure that you discuss pricing with someone beforehand so that the expectations are understood, that what your pricing is. I just feel so I did it kind of because someone asked me to, and it's a good connection to have. Sometimes you do that stuff, and it was a couple hours and it was fine.
2-3 hours of my day. It's about $20,000, sir. Hand it over.
That's about right. That's about right. But you also have to take into consideration the time to shoot, the time to edit, the time to get there, and how the images are going to be used. These images are going to be used to make this campaign money, to generate revenue, to generate endorsements and fundraising, right? It's going to be meant for that. And so they get unlimited usage. I mean, I'm a big fan. I take pictures. I give you the pictures. You get to use them. I mean, that's the whole point. I never got into the whole, you are only going to get 2 pictures and then you got to license every other one on top of paying me. So some people do that and some people don't. But the expectations is that photography is cheap and disposable and dispendable and not really valuable, I think, even though it really is.
Yeah, I think people severely undervalue photography, especially event photography. I mean, they're looking to spend $150, $200, maybe $250, $500 at the absolute most, and that's with probably multiple photographers. I mean, I remember some of the radio station stuff. They'd be like, "Oh, I got $100 I can throw you," or even like $50. I'm like, really? Do you guys really not care about photography at all?
Yeah, and I'm not complaining
it's like a slap
about
in the face. Yeah,
it is a slap in the face, and I'm not complaining about the person I worked for. I'm not complaining about what I got paid because I'm not telling you what I get paid.
I'm just bringing up in general. Like I went through all of that with the radio station, and I just wanted to. I always wanted to bring up. Do you understand how much gear it takes to make this event photography possible, especially when I'm shooting behind the scenes at a dimly lit concert venue, when I'm using all L lenses with 2.8 glass, probably have $15,000 in my camera bag right now, and you're paying me $50 to cover this event? Are you serious?
It's a good point. It's a good point because I had an R3, 85 1.2, 135 1.8, and
right there is $5,000 worth of glass.
A 15 to 35 2.8 and the 28 to 70 was my go-to. So I had
that's $10,000.
Well, the
not
camera's
even including the camera.
$6,000.
Exactly.
The camera's $6,000, or is it 65?
Memory cards alone, CF Express, $500, whatever one you're using.
Well, actually, those are pretty inexpensive now. 256s or one.
I'm thinking CF Express A.
Yeah, 315. The pro grades that we have. Don't play the music. Not a plug. That's what I've been using, and there's one SD card in there, so there's 2 of those. But that you just got to think about what you want to get paid for these things, and I just think it's very difficult to get people to understand the importance of the images. But where they will understand it is when you're like, yeah, no, I can't do it, and then they hire Joe Schmo, and Joe Schmo shows up with his Rebel and is out there taking really bad. You could see the difference, Steven. But you look at my pictures, Steven, and you look at someone else's who doesn't know what they're doing, you're like, holy shit, you went around this whole thing and really gave us what we needed.
I mean, that was, my story with the radio station. I would always be in the pit with a certain other person that shot with like a Rebel and JPEG only and edited super highly compressed JPEGs, and they looked like terrible.
Tell me about it,
And they would all
Steven.
get thrown in the gallery, my pictures and theirs, and it would be like, terrible picture, my photo, terrible picture, my photo. And it's just, I don't understand how you can't see that, especially when you're going from bad picture to really good picture. How do you not see the difference in quality? Because they just didn't give a shit. They didn't care at all. And it just really frustrated me because I took it very personal. I would spend a lot of time editing these photos and making them look great. And then they would get thrown in with everybody else's, including intern photos and everything else.
That is disappointing.
It is.
And frustrating all at the same time.
I'm sure every photographer goes through it, when people really severely undervalue their work and their talent and how they're much different than the Joe Schmo with a Rebel that's, in high school. Not that I'm saying you can't get good photos with a Rebel, but, typically people with that camera are someone just starting out and they don't have the wealth of knowledge that we have. They haven't grinded it like we have.
Well, it's like I got a message the other day from someone who's like, someone said on a forum or whatever on Facebook that the R6 Mark II is not a professional camera and that Canon doesn't promote it as that. I'm like, does it matter? I'm like, why are you arguing about this? Who gives a shit? And in the right hands, any camera is a professional camera. Do you know who I am? Any camera in my hands is a professional camera.
Give me Joe Schmo's Rebel and it's a professional camera.
It is, because I will outshoot Joe Schmo any day of the week with his basic bitch Rebel camera.
I'm trying to think. I think Canon said the R3 was their professional camera. I don't remember them saying the R5 or R6. I know specifically on the EOS R trip, they noted that the EOS R is not a professional camera because that was after the whole debacle with the Z6 and Z7 when they came out, and Nikon touted it as, these are the professional models, even though they only had one card slot, no grip available, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, let me shift back here to replacing photographers, because that brings up that whole story that was posted about the thing called the Lilo Photo, which in essence is a higher end modern day photo booth with professional lighting and professional cameras and printers that you go into at the mall. Now, it looks really cool. Did you look at it, Steven?
This is like a actual photo booth that you would find at a mall?
Click on the link. Click on the link I put in the notes. Because I put notes together, Steven. Did you not look at my notes with the link?
You send me these notes 15 minutes before we start.
Just click the link. If it's there, you can click the link. Why do you think I put the link in there? Do you see it now?
Yeah.
Look at that thing. It's a really cool design. It looks like a retro camera.
It's a big booth, too.
It is, but the thing behind this thing, think about it. It's a modern day photo booth with the ability to go in and they say professional lighting, which is really frustrating when they're like, we worked with professional photographers to make this lighting work and we got the best cameras and software. You're like, first off, no professional photographer worth their salt is going to sit there and get paid as a consultant to light your fucking booth. I don't think Peter Hurley's actually Peter Hurley probably would have gotten paid. He probably would have done it because if you pay him something, he'll probably do it. You'd be like, yeah, man, I'll promote this Peter Hurley booth, put my name on it. And every time he takes a picture, it yells shebang. And that's what it would end up doing. Yeah, I could see him doing that. He's like, yeah, I'll put my name on this. Pay me $500,000. And
do the squinch.
In that case,
squinch.
In that case, yeah, imagine that if it's Peter Hurley in the booth going, see, now we're thinking, Steven, that's the business. I wonder if there's anything on the screen other than a countdown, 1, 2, 3, that directs you on how to model. Now, that would be interesting where it's like, put your neck out, turtle, whatever all the Peter stuff does. I could see a Peter Hurley booth.
Hold the sandwich, the hoagie, whatever he does.
Hold the No, that
it's not called hoagie. It's I think he calls it hold the sub because in New York you call them subs and here you call them hoagies like Philly and South Jersey. But anyway, he basically makes his clients pretend they're holding like a 2-foot long giant hoagie or sub, and that's supposed to kind of thin out their arms a little bit and make them look a little more presentable. Look it up on YouTube. Hold the sub, I think.
Oh, I don't know. I've posed for him and he's gotten some great pictures of me. And so, but this booth, it costs $19.90 for a 5-minute photo session. You get one picture from that, one professional picture printed on a professional printer. Now, from the image that I saw of the printer, the print was curved slightly, which lends to it being a dye sublimation printer, which is far, far from professional. Any photographer looking at dye sublimation printers know that it's a dye sub printer. You could tell the difference in contrast and clarity because you can't get the same colors and you can't get the same tones. You can't get the same density as you can with an inkjet.
Do they only get a printout? Do they get a digital copy?
They get an email sent to them with the photo, one of them, but they also get the options to buy up to all of the photos. And I don't know how much that costs to have them all emailed to them. You can change the lighting inside this booth.
I mean, hey, I could see like in LA when headshots are a huge deal. I could see one of these, popping off in the local mall or something like that. But around the U.S., I don't know.
I mean, everybody wants to be an influencer, so everybody thinks they need a better portrait.
Do you need a headshot? I mean, how many people, unless you're looking for like a new job and you need a new LinkedIn profile photo, do you really need a headshot these days?
I mean, it wouldn't be, it's not bad for $20 if you're not going to go and work with like a professional photographer and you want to go into the booth and it's good enough, but they're like, no photographer to bother you. And it's like, well, first off, unless it's a GWC, hitting on you, then there's nothing wrong with the photographer directing you. That's what they get paid for.
Exactly. People want to be directed because they don't know how to pose. They don't know what they should be doing. So I think, if anything, I'd rather have a photographer in front bothering me.
I bet you it. And the other thing is that when you look at the pictures from inside the booth, are you standing? Are you sitting? Do you have two options? Because where's the eye level?
Well, I see there's a bench and then there is a little hole, like a glory hole in the wall.
It's a little high for a glory hole. It must be a glory hole for Andre the Giant. Yeah. It's Andre the Giant glory hole. Do you think Andre the Giant had Steven, do you think he had a big penis?
Big feet, right?
Well, Andre the Giant was massive. They said he was so big he couldn't fit on a toilet, so he used the bathtub.
Wow.
He had to use the bathtub for it. And when he had like a beer in his hand, it looked like a pen in our hand. He probably broke women or men in half.
Oh, yeah. But it looks like from the pictures that you're sitting down, it's a locked eye level camera. All the pictures are pretty much shoulder up, headshot level.
Yeah, and so it's probably cropping and everything. You can add filters. So I want to know what cameras they're using. I want to find one of these booths. Maybe I should just fly down to the Simon property in Miami where they have it, because Simon they own the malls, right? So they want to put these there. I think it will get used, but I want to know, what is the cost of this box? How much does it cost to produce this and to maintain it and to put it out into the wild? And then how much is the floor space? Because you can guarantee you that they're writing it off as rental. They have to rent the space on the floor in the mall.
So all it says on their website is photos are always of the highest quality professional equipment. We use only high quality equipment and studio lighting selected by us for special shooting conditions.
What does that even mean?
What gear? It just says professional equipment. And it does say you can edit the selected photo right
on
there
their
and
thing.
then. Yeah.
I'm going to call them. Is there a phone number here?
There's a whole contact form, yeah.
Let me put my phone number in here. I almost read it. I'm going to email them right now. Hi.
There's really not much information on the website, but at the same time, people want to keep it simple,
What I'm going to hear. Hi there. Can you share what camera, lens and printers you're using?
So right now it's in Florida, right? Is there actually any other locations? It looks like it's at the Miami International Mall near the Macy's men's store in Florida.
Do they have jeans there?
Need a new jacket while you're at it?
Well, my new jacket came in the mail. Did you see it?
Oh, I did.
What'd you think?
Looking good.
It looks good. I wore it the other day.
I said it when you were gonna buy it. I'm like, it looks really, really good on you. Yeah, it's a nice jacket.
Right. It's a nice jacket.
Yeah, for $10,000, I would expect it to be nice.
It's not $10,000, Steven. Not a $10,000 jacket. I don't think I'd be buying a $10,000 jacket. No, Steven, I'm not buying a $10,000 jacket.
You say that today.
I say that today until I see a $10,000 jacket that I want.
Exactly.
Unless it comes with the building that I want to buy. So yeah, what do you guys think about this? You worried that they're gonna take your job with this Lilo thing for $19.90? You get one picture and one printout.
Hey, if you really need a headshot, it is a great option because headshots are probably $200 starting. When you're
that's
looking
cheap.
at like a decent photographer, yeah,
that's
on the
cheap,
lower
$200?
end. That's what I'm saying, on like the low end.
Peter Hurley's like $1,500.
Wow, Peter Hurley's on the high end.
That's not even that high. He literally is like a photo booth, though. The way
I
that
would
he
consider
sets it
Peter
up,
high, yeah.
Yeah, but the way he sets it up, he literally could create one of these Peter Hurley booths, but I don't think it would be economical.
I mean,
really
he just does what? Basic 3-point lighting, and that's about it? Right?
He does a triangle set
For
of
him,
lights.
it's all the posing for sure.
It's all posing, and it's the same photo over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Do you know what happened a few weeks ago? I didn't mention it a couple weeks ago. I wanted to.
What?
I'm walking home from this bar, the same bar that was where I get the food, and it's like 11 o'clock at night, and I happen upon this Palmer Park place, which is on the side of the road, and there's this guy laying prone. He's laying down in the bus stop, right? The bus stop, and he's like yelling for help. Then I hear him say that he's been shot.
Oh.
Then I hear him say that he's bleeding out. Someone help. And I'm walking up trying to figure out what's going on. I see 3 girls that are already standing at a corner across the street, and I'm like, did you call 911? And their answer was,
we were too busy filming it.
We were just debating whether we should. And I'm like, what the fuck is there to debate? This person is saying they've been shot. I'm not going over to see if they've been shot, but I can certainly call 911. Yeah. So I get out my phone. I actually yelled at them. I did. I yelled at them. I'm like, you have a person laying here. I'm like, what is there to debate as I called 911? I get 911 on the phone. I'm like, there's a person here saying that they've been shot. I don't know if they have been shot, but they're writhing in pain. They're saying they're bleeding out and they need help. I'm making the call. They connect with the police dispatch. 45 seconds later, 6 cop cars show up.
Wow.
Instantly, basically, they show up. Then my brain goes into, well, this is a black guy. Are they going to tase him or shoot him? Well, no, that's where my brain went first. As a white person, you generally don't think that, you think the police, I mean, we know this, are supposed to help, but as we know over the history of the police, that the black people end up dead somehow, and it's not their fault. And it shouldn't happen. But that wasn't going to stop me from making a call when someone says they were shot. The 911 people are like, tell them help's on the way. Okay, I told them help's on the way. They're like, can you get close? I'm like, I don't feel comfortable going across the street. I don't know if this person's playing possum, right? I don't know what's happening right now.
Well, that's the scary part is you don't know if they're just trying to lure you over to then grab, the girl's purse or something like that, or try and get your wallet or whatever it may be. You never know, and it's sad that we have to think that way, but we're in scary times.
But as a human, I can stay across the street. I can make the phone call.
Call the right people to deal with it. Yep.
And I did. And the first thing the cops asked, do you have a gun? Then they picked him up and he was gone. They threw him right into the cop car and took him to the hospital.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. And so one of the cops was like, we think this person was involved in a robbery and got shot. And so an article came out the next day. My friend sent it to me and said that, hey, check this out. And it was the exact thing that happened. So what happened is the person who was shot, they say, tried to carjack someone a few blocks over, and the person shot through their windshield and hit this person.
Oh, wow.
And the person then ran and ended up in this bus stop. And so I think I saved the person's life by making a phone call.
Sure.
I don't even know what happened after. They were in critical condition because they probably bled quite a bit.
Do you know where he was shot?
He was in the chest. He was shot in the chest because that's where he said he was bleeding from. He was like, I'm bleeding out. I don't care. Like, I'm not there to judge what this person did. I didn't know what they did in the first place. But regardless of knowing or not knowing, I wasn't going to sit there and weigh the options and worry about that first and foremost. The thing that I wanted to do was call because it made sense to call because the person said they needed help. They were shot and they were bleeding out. I don't understand why these girls were standing there debating.
No, there should be no questions asked.
For minutes.
It should be an immediate phone call to 911.
I understand you could worry about the cops doing something wrong to a black person. You can worry about all this, your safety. Nothing says you have to stand there. You can go the other way while making a phone call and say, I'm not comfortable, but this is what's going on. The reason they were there in 45 seconds, the cops, they were already out looking for this person.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. But my one friend also was like, they got what they deserve. They're scum. And I just went into this whole thing. I'm like, first off, you don't know someone's situation. You also don't know the institutional norms that have been going against a certain group of people for a long time, generations, keeping people down. You don't know what people have been through and why. And so let's look deeper at that and not
at the same time, not saying robbery is right.
No, not at all. No, Stephen, not at all. But when you go back into the people being held down, people not being able to get education, people not being able to get loans, to get out of cities, to be because we know that educated people in general, like they know that when people go to college, they become more liberal in college for a reason because they get educated and learn about things. And then when they aren't in college, you get the other side. That's just not saying that everybody becomes liberal in school, but the more you become educated, you start to understand different situations and different things, and you look at things differently. Whatever. Anyway, the moral of the story is, I mean, be a human being first and foremost. If someone's asking for help, yes, look out for yourself for sure, and don't put yourself into a dangerous situation. But if someone is asking for help, and I didn't see blood, I didn't see anything, but they were saying those things, I made a call. And I yelled at those girls, and then they walked away after I made. They're like, "Thank you for making the call," and I'm like, "Fuck you, leave."
I mean, you did the right thing. Yeah, that's all you have to do is simply call 911.
Hopefully the person survived, and hopefully they can better themselves in the future and find help. That's where I'll leave that.
Yep.
You know what else pisses me off today, Steven?
Here we go.
Other than girls not making phone calls, and it didn't matter that it was girls. It could have been guys too not making phones. It just so happened it was 3 women standing there debating what to do. And I'm like, here we are, 4 white people debating what to do about this black person who's shot. Like, that's what went through my head. I'm like, make the fucking phone call. Yep. That's what's going through my head. I'm going to share what's in my head, Steven. Anyway, you know the photo I put up from the R8 from the trip, the salmon colored wall with the shadow?
Oh, best photo ever.
No, I never said it was the best photo ever. I actually liked it for drawing. I think
I'm
it was
just saying it because I know what you're going to talk about in a second.
I posted this photo on Instagram, and then, of course, there's comments about how it's not a professional photo. It's a terrible photo. I have to critique. Like,
nice snapshot, Jared.
I have to critique it because you would tell someone that this is a terrible photo. And I'm like, why the fuck are you telling me? Like,
I think it's only because you're so vocal about other photos and other photographers. I think people like to any second they get, they can throw it right back in your face.
I'm vocal, Steven, but I don't stick my 2 cents in on someone else's images when they don't ask for it.
No,
generally speaking.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, I don't go to someone's Joe Schmo's page and be like, yeah, I don't like what you did with this photo. What I might do is say, would you like some feedback? So don't go on people. The point of this whole thing is don't go on people's Instagrams or Facebooks and instantly tell them what's wrong with an image. Don't give your feedback unless they ask for your feedback. If someone likes something, don't shit on them.
I'm just thinking of like all the presidential portraits that we critiqued and reacted to, and the prince's wedding photos or whatever.
Yep. I talked about that.
Did they ask for your critique?
They didn't ask for my critique, but I also backed them up and said they're the ones who did the job. I don't understand why they cut their wrists off, though. But yes, no, that's part of it, too.
What were people commenting on exactly?
Here's the one, Steven, since you asked. I actually like this photo. Actually, some of the people were like, well, why were you at this angle? I was like, well, there's cars on the street.
Well, I have the actual electronic viewfinder footage, and you're literally like across the street with a ton of cars right below it, so you had to angle up to take that photo.
I just liked the photo because I thought that the illusion of this of the shadow looks awesome. So this person wrote,
it's a nice snapshot.
The person goes, and you always criticize snap picture. This is exactly that. Nothing interesting. This could have been taken with a 2010 mobile phone. And it's like, cool. Okay. You know, it's like, why are you saying this?
Ooh, it got 12 likes, that comment. And 13 now. Click.
Anybody who likes that is a bitch. And not even like, I don't even know what a bitch is. It's a female dog. I don't even know why that's a bad word.
I love your comment. Hi, did anyone ask you? Nope.
Is that what I commented?
That's all he wrote.
Well, then I screen grabbed it and then I posted it on Instagram because, you know, actually, I think I went to their page and said the same thing. Let me see. Did I comment on any of their pictures? They responded
with, do I need your permission to comment on a public profile? Laughing face.
See, but that's not the point.
No, I know what you're saying.
It's not the point that it's a public profile. You don't need to be a fucking asshole, you fucking asshole. You don't have to be an asshole to someone because they're public. Like commenting on public figures. Do people just love to rip on I'm not calling me a celebrity. I'm talking about like celebrities and actors and comment on everything about their life as if they're free to say whatever they want, as if that person doesn't have emotions. Like they beat up Bieber and they beat up every child star and they beat up everybody. Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus. You know,
again, I just think you're a very vocal, ranty person, and I think any opportunity people have, they'll throw it right back in your face.
But the mentality is, well,
because you're very strong on your opinion about things. So
yes, but the mentality of, well, you put it public so I can tell you what I think. I didn't ask you.
They're not wrong, but I also see your side.
There's tact. There is, yes. There's a way to handle these things. I personally like the photo. And if you like a photo, then like your own fucking photo. Put it out into the world.
And like we've said, it's all subjective at the end of the day. You might like it and someone else might hate it.
Yes.
If you like it, post it. Do whatever you want.
It's just the point is, if someone doesn't go out of their way to ask you for your thoughts, don't share them. Don't give feedback unless someone really wants the feedback. What, Steven? Why are you laughing
Everything
at me?
we talk about on the podcast is your feedback about stuff that no one asked you for.
Yeah, but do you know who I am?
It's just funny. You're contradicting everything.
I'm not contradicting that, Steven. I'm not sitting here looking at someone's photo going, I'm not talking about just a snapshot. What are you talking about?
I'm just everything we talk about on the podcast.
What are you talking about, Willis?
I don't have specific things right now to throw in your face, but
fucking spit them out, Steven, if you're going to sit here and try to throw me under the goddamn bus. Nothing.
Okay.
You got nothing. Mm-hmm. You got nothing.
I'll leave it there. The audience can decide for themselves if they agree or disagree.
I don't agree with Steven. I'm going to go to his house right now and yell at him. I'm not going to go to Steven's house and yell at him. It's a good photo. I like the photo, Steven. So someone to point out, like, did you snapshot? You could have done it with 2010 mobile phone. Like, cool. Let's go look at your work, asshole. Let's go look at their work, Steven.
That's my favorite, when you comment back on their page.
So what I do from time to time, and people like, don't let the negativity get to you. It doesn't get to me. This isn't it getting to me. I'm not upset or angry at this shit. I just like talking about it because it's, to me, I can handle it. It's frustrating at times.
It doesn't get to me, but I'm bringing it up in a very public forum.
This is my RAWtalk, Steven. If people don't want to listen to my RAWtalk, they're coming here for my thoughts and my opinions. They want you to sit there and choke on the water you just choked on.
Yeah.
You keep choking on that. You do that because I can't give you the Heimlich maneuver from here. So what I do from time to time is that if someone says something really stupid, I'll basically write the same comment back on one of their photos and then leave. I'll never go back and check it. No, it's like, yeah, how do you like it? Oh, I don't like this photo of this kid that you took. And then I actually won't do that if it's their kid in the photo because I don't want to comment on their kid and be an asshole. But when they comment something stupid on a picture, I'll go to their landscape photo and be like, this photo looks like a snapshot from 2010. You know, like just
that's the irony, though, is they'll comment something like that on your photo, and then you go to their page, and it's usually a page full of mediocrity, a page full of photos that look like snapshots.
Terrible people, Steven. And you know the other thing, the last story I want to talk about before we wrap it up is you always heard for the last 10 years that the photo industry is dying. Do you know how many times we've heard that the photo industry is dying, and they point to camera sales, but they point to camera sales all encompassing. They're pointing to point and shoots included in that. And yes, for years, point and shoots were the top selling things for Canon, Nikon, Olympus, Minolta, Panasonic, Pentax.
I mean, that was their moneymaker for sure, yeah.
Well, it was a moneymaker. And then, of course, when the cell phone started to put cameras in it, that took away sales.
Yep.
And that didn't mean that the photo industry was dying, because when you look back at the numbers, all along, the numbers for interchangeable lens cameras, professional cameras, DSLRs, mirrorless cameras were stable and in some cases going up. And so when you look back and you get rid of all of the looking at the point and shoot cameras, the industry has always been doing fine.
Well,
and
I
it
think
will continue to do fine.
The professional market has always been fine. Because
right, but
you have
it gets clumped
professionals
together.
Professionals will always be buying cameras, but yes, it does get clumped together. However, I'm sure that this probably brought in 50% of revenue for them,
It probably brought in a lot of revenue, sure.
I'm sure it really hurt Canon, Nikon, Sony, especially, was it Nikon with the Cool Pics campaign?
Nikon with the Cool Pics.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they did that.
Canon
but
with
also,
the Rebels, I mean,
it
huge.
put Polaroid out of business. It put Kodak out of business, right? We know that it put those companies out of business. You got to iterate. You got to evolve. But to always clump it all together and say the photo industry is dying, because you would always hear people doing that. Camera sales are down another 20% this year. It's like, yes, but not the cameras that matter to our industry.
Exactly.
The pro level cameras, the interchangeable lens cameras, the lenses. That is what we're talking about. And those have been stable and have gone up in certain situations. So I just get tired of, that whole industry getting clumped together saying that they're dying.
I mean, I do wonder how much this affects, again, like Canon or Nikon with their Coolpixes and stuff like that. When they lost that revenue, does that take away from, future R&D and everything for the pro level market? Obviously, people have to lose their jobs when they're losing 50% of their revenue or whatever it was. I do question, how much did that hurt them? Going back 10 years or so. I'm sure it hurt
them a lot.
Yeah.
But that's why they've diversified and have the medical industry and have all of the different imaging industries that they have.
Canon and
Canon's
Sony,
got printers.
They've got everything. Yeah. And Nikon, on the other hand, they've got their binoculars and a couple other things. What else? Do they do microscopes?
They do microscopes as well.
Yeah.
They do microscopes. They do medical stuff. Fuji's big into medical. I mean, Fuji imaging for medical is huge. Olympus has medical. And so it's just like there's big money in those situations. And yes, the point and shoot market, who's doing great with the point and shoot market is Sony, and not talking about actual point and shoots. We're talking about every time an iPhone is sold, you're selling, and we're talking about an iPhone Pro or Pro Max. How many cameras are in that, Steven?
3, right?
4?
Is there 4?
Camera, front-facing camera.
Front camera, yes.
3 on the back.
Yep.
What other sensors? Maybe they're also doing the other sensor, that other infrared sensor. Maybe they're doing that too.
Does Sony do iPhone sensors, or are they also dealing with Android phones and
I'm sure
Samsung
other companies, Samsung and Sony are building a lot of the image sensors and image processors. So every time phones sell, Sony in a lot of cases is selling 3 to 5 image sensors and processors to a company. That's how they are able to be so big, because they went so big into that world and did a great job with it. That's why they're coming. They partner with
a lot of car sensors too, right?
Well, they do a lot. Well, any car that has a sensor, like my Tesla has a bunch of cameras in it. So a lot of cars have a left camera, a right camera, a back camera, and some have front cameras, and then they have interior cameras. You're talking about 5, 6, 8 cameras.
Yeah.
That's why Sony has made a car and has teamed up with Hyundai or Honda or Hyundai or whatever the hell they're called.
It's supposed to rhyme with Monday. Hyundai, I think.
Just another manic Hyundai. I wish it was a Sunday.
Sunday, bloody Sunday.
Oh, we're going to start singing songs about Sundays?
Yeah, or Monday.
Friday, it's Friday.
She just put out apparently
Saturday,
another album or a song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Rebecca Black.
Uh-huh. Man, talk about getting killed on social media.
That had to kill her on the inside. I mean, being 13 years old and just getting wrecked across the internet, ripped apart for that song.
I'm
Brutal.
On the inside.
Mentally, it's got to be rough.
It had to be tough that she's like, I just want to go make a song at this hit factory.
And you're the butt of the joke,
and then you become the butt of the joke. How old is she now? Let's see. Rebecca Black.
That was 2010, 2011?
It was a long time ago, because I remember singing it.
20s or late 20s, if I had to guess.
I used to yell it out of the window. She is now 25.
There you go.
She was born in 1997. Let's see. Rebecca Black is an American singer and YouTuber. She gained. We know what she did. What's she do now? Her career: early songs and covers. Present. Rebecca Black was Heard and Let Her Burn. Personal life. On April 20th, Black came out as queer during an episode of the Dating Straight podcast. Great. I love how that made it to Wikipedia.
I mean, her latest song, it's called Sick to My Stomach, has 146,000 views on YouTube.
That's not very good for a music track.
No, but it's not 2,000 views,
Yeah, I guess so, Steven.
Why does it say the debut album out now, Let Her Burn? Did she never have a full album?
No. So what she did, it was basically like a bat mitzvah video. She went and made a video with her friends at the Hit Factory or ARC, whatever the hell it was called. And It's a really good song. I like It's Friday. I think it's catchy. That video is
Friday, getting down on Friday.
Thursday, Monday, everybody party, yeah. The kids driving the car, party, yeah.
Oh man,
yeah. It's like, imagine this. You go to school, you're like, guys, I'm going to be in a music video. You guys want to be in my music video that my parents are spending a lot of money on because I'm 13?
Wow, that was 11 years ago and it has 164 million views.
Yeah, but I think she actually took it down once and then put it back up.
I think she did take it down. Yeah, and she has a song called Saturday.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that one go?
It's Saturday.
Saturday. How about Chocolate Rain, since we're going there?
Oh man, talk about OG
Rain.
YouTube.
Te Zunde. He still has 1.1 million subscribers. This video from 15 years ago.
135 million views on that video.
Chocolate Rain.
No, the best is when he moves away from the microphone and he puts a little caption. I have to breathe.
He puts a caption. That's so I breathe. Man, that's
or you can just cut it out and post.
Yeah, Chocolate Rain. What? That's going back into the Wayback Machine.
15 years ago, it says. That was one of the OG YouTubers for sure.
That was one of the first viral sensations.
Yep.
That it would have been great for them to make money, but they didn't actually make the money.
Exactly.
So speaking of making money, we don't have any ads this week, so Steven didn't get to play the roll ads. No, you didn't get to play any ads, but we're going to call it a day, Steven?
Let's do it.
You guys could text us at 313-710-9749. Sorry, that's wrong. It's 9729. 313-710-9729. That's the phone number to text us and get birthday wishes. If it doesn't fall on a Saturday or Sunday, I generally will send you a birthday wish, and it's personally sent by me. So the way the machine works is that it says whose birthdays it are. It's like there's 4 birthdays today. So I click and I send a message to all 4 people wishing them a happy birthday, and usually go eat some cake. And that's because I like cake.
My favorite is when they respond, they're like, "This isn't really Jared," and you're like, "Yes, it is."
Yes, it is.
Yes. Your one-word response is yes.
It is. Leave me alone. All right, Steven, thank you very much for listening, okay?
I did pretty much listen this entire podcast. There wasn't much input from me.
There was plenty of input from you. Terrible input, as always. Making fun of me. Like, do you know who I am?
I'm just keeping it real, man. Just got to keep it real.
Keep it real. Keep it real. Anyway, this is RAWtalk episode number... This is RAWtalk episode. How's your Squarespace doing, Steven?
Oh, yeah.
This is RAWtalk. Jesus Christ, stop interrupting. This is RAWtalk episode 38. Shut up, Steven! You're fucking fired! Thank you guys very much for listening. Jared, PolinFronosPhoto.com. Bye, everybody. Bye, Steven.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.